This week, we're taking it all the way back to basics and talking about what an onshore partner visa is. So that's a subclass 820/801. The subclass 820/801 is a suitable visa option for applicants who are inside Australia and they want to remain inside Australia. So a typical scenario for this is if the applicant, say, is here on a working holiday visa and they've been with their partner for a year or two, sometimes less, sometimes more, but they're holding a substantive visa. So they're holding a working holiday visa. They don't want to go home. They want to lodge a partner visa. The subclass 820 would be the way to go about it. Generally speaking, it's a two-stage process. So the 820 is applied for and granted, and then 2 years after that date, you can then lodge the 801 application, which is your permanent residency. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. What's really important to know is that there are certain criteria you need to meet for a subclass 820 onshore partner visa. There's certain eligibility requirements which you and your sponsor must meet. For example, your sponsor can't be prohibited from being a sponsor and sponsoring you. It's important that you double check that they are an Australian citizen, an Australian permanent resident, or an eligible New Zealand citizen. You must also demonstrate that you're either in a de facto relationship or a spousal relationship. And you and your partner must also demonstrate that you're over 18 years of age and that neither of you have any criminal convictions. And if you do, you can still apply, but it will make the partner visa application potentially more complicated. And there are certain health criteria that you as the applicant also need to meet. Processing times. So when it comes to the onshore partner visa, couples are always understandably asking, what's the processing time? Processing times vary greatly and significantly depending on a whole range of factors. At the time of publishing this blog, for example, the processing time is anywhere from around 12 to 26 months. There are certain things that you can do to keep that processing time as short as possible, like making sure, number one, you meet the eligibility criteria, you're providing immigration with all the documents and information they need, and if you are receiving a request for more information, you're responding to that as soon as possible. Evidencing your relationship for the onshore partner visa. So this is key. Your evidence is going to be critical to your partner visa. Hopefully you're already familiar with the term, the 4 pillars of relationship. If you're not, I have a whole other blog all about the 4 pillars of relationship that you can read and watch. But for the purpose of this blog, I'm going to very quickly go through what these are. So essentially, the way that immigration assesses your relationship is against 4 different factors, or as we call them, the 4 pillars of relationship. They look to see what your financials are like, so the financial aspects of your relationship. They look at your household, so they look at your living arrangements with your partner. They look at the social aspects of your relationship, so this is whether your friends and family are aware. And they look at your commitment to each other. Immigration needs to be satisfied that you view your relationship as a long-term one. As I briefly mentioned before, there are certain health criteria that you need to meet as the applicant. The sponsor doesn't need to do any medical examinations, but you as the applicant, if you're applying inside Australia, that is for the subclass 820 partner visa, you will need to undergo a medical assessment, which is done at Bupa. As the visa applicant, you also need to meet certain character requirements, and so does your partner. So if you have any concerns around you or your partner not meeting the character test, you should seek immigration advice before applying for the visa. What is the cost of applying for a subclass 820/801 partner visa? This is the big one. So the cost is $9,095. That's at the time of writing this blog. We do normally find that fee increases once a year. It is a very big investment to make into your future, so it's so important that you're doing it all right. So we've talked a little bit about what a subclass 820 partner visa is. To summarize, the subclass 820 is the first stage of your partner visa. This is where you're granted a provisional partner visa. It allows you to stay in Australia, it gives you full work rights, and it also gives you access to Medicare. But what happens next? So this is where the 801 comes into effect. And surprisingly, lots of couples miss this stage. So the 801 is the permanent part to your partner visa. You should be applying for the 801 visa 24 months or 2 years after you've lodged the 820 visa. The 801 is the visa that allows you to remain in Australia permanently. So how do you make the application for an 801 partner visa? Probably some of the worst advice I've seen is that people online say that you don't need to apply for the 801 visa. Immigration automatically grants it to you after 2 years. That's simply not true. So when you've lodged the 820, you should put in a note in your calendar to then apply for the 801 2 years after the 820 is lodged. Remember that it's not from the date that it was granted, it's from the date that it was lodged. So how do you make this application? Well, you do it again through your IMI account. I like to call it putting together a mini partner visa because that's exactly what it is. You need to provide some updated forms, updated witness statements, updated relationship statements, and in general, updated evidence of your relationship to demonstrate that you are still in a genuine and continuing relationship. If you're starting out on your partner visa journey and you're Googling all things 820 onshore partner visa, then reach out to me. We can book you in for a free introductory call. You can learn more about the Partner Visa Academy if you're keen to DIY, and we can make sure that we're the right fit to help you along with this process. Please note that this blog is intended for general information only and does not constitute immigration advice. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button and head on over to thepartnervisaacademy.com.au. I'll see you on the next video.